Hey guys!
Welcome to Broadway Before Bedtime.
I'm Yair.
And I'm Remy.
We met last year doing Drag the Musical off-Broadway together, and ever since then, we've basically been nonstop talking about performing, auditions, and everything that comes with being young actors.
So we thought, why not turn those conversations into a podcast? Each episode, we sit down with artists we genuinely admire and talk about how they got started, what they've learned, and what this whole industry is actually like. And today, we're joined by a very exciting guest. She played Zoe Murphy on the national tour of Dear Evan Hansen. We're talking about the Jimmy Awards, training at Lipscomb, cruise ship life, and what it's like stepping into a show that means so much to so many people.
We are so excited to have her here today. Please welcome Hatty King.
Broadway Before Bedtime with Yair and Remy.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Of course, we're so excited.
Very excited.
So let's jump in. So let's start with the Jimmy Awards. Amazing. Take us back to that experience. What did that moment feel like stepping onto that stage?
Oh my gosh. One of my biggest memories from that experience is, so it's like, you're there for 10 days and it's so intense and they have you up at like 7 a.m. and you're rehearsing until like 7, 8 p.m. But then you have dinner and then you have to like run all your stuff in your own time. So it's like you're exhausted. But then there's this one day where they take you to the Minskoff Theater for the first time and they trick you because they like take you on this backstage tour and all the lights are off. And then all of a sudden the lights turn on and you realize that you're on the stage, which I don't know if they do it like that anymore, but my year, that's how they did it.
That's so cool.
It was so cool. And I was so unprepared. And also we were all like exhausted and emotional already. So it's like lights up and you're staring out at the audience from a Broadway house. You know, for me, that was a place I had never been before, but it was like the first time I had ever like looked out and been like, oh my gosh, this is what I want my future to look like. And I mean, just tears, just like absolute tears and losing it. And like they gave us like 30 minutes to kind of just like take it all in, and then they're like, okay, now we gotta rehearse.
That sounds so special.
It's so special. But that's like the day before, maybe like 2 days before the actual ceremony. And then the day of the ceremony, it's all just like so fast paced. You block through your stuff on stage and then this ceremony happens. And I was lucky enough to be a finalist, which also just is so fast paced. Like you find out that you're a finalist and then you're like being rushed off and you're being told how to enter the stage and all that. And then all of a sudden you're like on stage and you're singing your song, which is again, just like so insane.
Crazy.
But I mean, that experience was everything, absolutely everything to me. And even now, I think we're almost 10 years since I did that. And it continues to be such an important organization to me. It's like the experience continues to just like matter so much and change my life in little ways that I never expected. So I'm so grateful that that's a part of my like history and almost the beginning of my career in a lot of ways. I have nothing but good things to say.
That's very, very beautiful. Did you do the Jimmys the same year as Nicholas? Is any of your friends?
Yes, that's how I know Nicholas.
Oh my God!
We did the Jimmys the same year,
best.
which we were friends. Which, by the way, for listeners, Nicholas is how I know these two wonderful boys, because he was in drag off Broadway with them. But yeah, Nicholas and we were friends during the ceremony, but it actually wasn't until a couple years ago that we reconnected through the Jimmy Awards when we were both working for the Broadway League that we really became besties. And now he's like one of my favorite people. But yeah, we owe it to the Jimmy Awards.
I really hope that's how they still do it with the stage thing. That is like really
it's magical. Like you have no idea that it's coming. Then all of a sudden you're there and you're like, oh my, nothing can prepare you for it. It's amazing.
I like to watch the Jimmys every year, but unfortunately sometimes I don't get to. I forget.
Right.
Do they do the finalist performance the same night?
Yes, it all happens like in the span of 3 hours.
So everyone has to prepare a song, I assume.
You come into the like program with a couple of songs selected that you would like work on with coaches that if you were selected as a finalist would be what you would sing.
Yeah.
And they kind of like narrow it down from there. I think in the last couple of years, you kind of know if you're in the like semi-finalist pool now. So if you're like still trying to work on that song to eventually perform at the end of the week. But yeah, you come in kind of knowing like, here's my like 2 to 4 songs that I could sing for the finals. Yeah.
It's like RuPaul's Drag Race. They come in with like everything prepared.
Yes, yeah, no, they tell you, they're like, you have to come in with like 2 of your own songs and 2 of your songs from your role that you're nominated for, and they try to make sure you're really prepared because all of it just gets thrown together so quickly, and then there's all the medleys and everything that get written at the time and all of it. I mean, to be on the logistics side of things, I can't even imagine what that's like for them. It sounds so stressful.
Yeah, I love the Jimmys. I think it's so cool.
Yeah, it's an amazing organization. It gets bigger and bigger every year too. Yeah. So it's
also
really cool.
It's also so cool to see like some like pop icons that we have today. Like you see them being like a theater kid at the Jimmy Awards, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yes, like there's so many that, I mean, Renee Rapp is like one of the biggest to kind of like come out of that, and she was the year after me. But it's so funny to see like normal people, like not theater people, find out that she was a theater kid.
Yeah.
And it's like, where do you think she got those vocals from? Like, that is theater training. Like, that belt, theater.
That belt. So, as we said, you were a finalist. Or as the Jimmy Awards said, you were a finalist. Did that experience shift how you saw your future in the industry? Like, because I think that being are you in high school or college? High school, right?
It was following my senior year of high school.
That's like really scary. You're about to pick your college future. I'm sure that like being a finalist like helped you navigate what the next year would be.
It definitely, I think the entire experience kind of gave me a taste of what it would be like to be a professional in rehearsals every day, working on a show. Like being in those workshops and master classes and everything as well, and like dance classes. I'd never really done anything like that. Like I came to theater when I was like 14. So I think, I mean, you guys, like you have been performing since you probably could speak. Whereas I feel like I kind of came to it later than a lot of people do. So a lot of it was just so new for me. And that experience was very affirming and helping me to like affirm the fact that this was something that I wanted to do, and it was something that I could do. So it was very affirming. It was very like it did kind of like highlight this path for me of like, okay, like this is what I want the rest of my life to look like, and I think I can do it. Which I kind of like, obviously I was going to school for theater before that and everything, but it's like I hadn't really had that like high caliber validation in a way, that it could be like a very realistic path for me.
What's something about the Jimmys that like people on the outside don't realize or know?
Oh my goodness. That's such a great question. I think part of what they don't realize is, I mean, I think it gets talked about the fact that, at this point it's 150, I think, nominees, something like that. It gets bigger and bigger every year, but it's like those nominees come in and pretty much all they know is their role. Like they know the role that they've been nominated for, and they know their music and all of that. And then they come in and they get taught like an opening number. If they're in a medley, they get taught a medley. If they're in like the production group, then they get taught that entire number. And so it's like you're learning so much in such a short amount of time. And on top of that, they're being taken to a Broadway show. They get to go to dinner at Sardi's. They get to have cool master classes and talkbacks with like industry professionals and people who are just like, what do you mean we get to hear from those people? But the fact, sorry?
No, keep going.
Oh, but just the fact that all of that happens in such a short amount of time. And on top of that, these are young people.
That's what I was going to say.
And so it's like people, they see this award show, which is so high caliber and so high in production value and scope. And it is so incredibly amazing. It's on a Broadway stage. It's like put at the same level as a Broadway show. But these nominees have had a fraction of the time that any Broadway performer would have to step into a Broadway show. And so like, you see the TikTok comments, and sometimes people are really harsh, and sometimes people are really like they give a lot of praise and such, but like remember that like these are young people who it is like the dream of their life to be there on that stage and being a part of that show. And also 10 days prior to the ceremony, they didn't know any of this. And they learned all of it.
Crazy.
And they did it well. Like it's just crazy. And so I think, people could just kind of knowing like what goes into all of that can just kind of give a bit of like perspective as to everything that goes into making that one night on Broadway.
And like you said, like I mean, musical theater is really hard for everyone, no matter if you are a professional, but like
Hmm.
these aren't like professionals. Like these people, like most of them, if not all of them, have never like been on Broadway before, like and
Hmm.
like you said, a fraction of the time. And
Yeah.
like also like these are like filmed, the Jimmys are filmed, and I
Raw
would
mic
say a
feed.
lot more people that
Hmm.
and that way it can get posted on social media and people are not the nicest, but like these are children. I'm children. So like they're not trained. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
And
not
it's
not
like
trained, not professionals.
yes, and it's like they are, the reason that they're at the Jimmy Awards is because they are on that professional caliber.
Right.
And, maybe some of them have been paid for what they do at some point, but for the most part, like this is probably some of the biggest thing that they've done.
Mhm.
And you mentioned like it gets filmed and put on social media. Back when I was a part of the Jimmy Awards, we had to wait like a month for our videos to
Mhm.
come out. But now they
It's like
film it and it comes
immediate.
out that night. Like they literally take like they have like multiple different cameras and whatever gets live streamed, that's the cut that gets put on
Or like
social media like
or like
immediately.
if you're like a finalist and you get eliminated, you're
Mm,
already sad. And then to get on your phone and like on the way home back to where you live to like see that like your performance was already posted, you're already disappointed, and people are now not being super nice about it. So
yeah, I mean, we could go into a whole. I mean, I know that you guys are on TikTok. I'm on TikTok. We could have
mhm.
a whole conversation about people in TikTok comments who are
Literally.
saying things that they know nothing
It's
about.
it's genuinely so weird for me to see like other theater people in general say such cruel things about
Mm.
others, and I'm like,
Mm,
why?
yeah.
We all love this industry. We all want to be part of it. So if you have something not kind to say, just keep it to
And
yourself. And
like you said, like I would say that like, oh, you might work with them again, but like theater is like such a small industry, but also a very large
totally.
one. But like you will work with these people.
Yes.
Someone that you comment on, if they're not the one, someone else is gonna see it and you're gonna
Hmm.
work with them, and that's gonna be very, very awkward. So don't leave mean
Absolutely.
comments. It's really
Yeah. No,
don't be
that's
mean.
definitely. I think people like they comment on things thinking that the person it's about won't see it, but
Or a casting
now,
Yes.
director.
yeah, but now being on the other side of things, and like I'll post my own videos, and thankfully, usually people are pretty kind, but occasionally people say not nice things, and it's funny because they'll say it in third person. They're like, "She blah 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 blah," and sometimes I comment back being like, "Hey, I am she. I'm she. Like this is my video. You're talking about me. Like I see
Right.
this." And I just think about, people on like a larger scale and, maybe, whoever Ariana Grande doesn't look at comments, but maybe she
Mm.
does. Like maybe she sees them. You never know. You really never know.
Definitely can relate. Like just
Yeah.
Mm.
like I can see these.
Yeah.
You're on my
Like
feed.
right. Like I got the notification. Like, I'm chronically online too.
Right. Um, I feel like this is like the last Jimmy question, then we'll move on. But like this is just so exciting. Were there any habits or lessons that the experience that you still carry into your work now?
Ooh, I love this question. I remember, so my coach was Michael McElroy, who has like a very long list of things that he's done. But I think one of the main things that I was excited about was that he was one of the Phantoms. But in my master class, I think it was like one of the first times that someone had really helped me to like take a song out of context, think about things from my own life that would like help me get into like the right headspace and like mind space of a song. And like we did this whole exercise to like walk through, and then I like did the song again, and obviously it was like so much better. But I think
Yeah.
that was one of the first times that I had experienced coaching like that. And it really did kind of like change my like mindset around when I'm working up pieces or working up a cut to take into an audition room, and figuring out like when you can get as specific as possible and like in some ways as personal as possible and in a healthy way, of course, but how much more can that song matter to you and like mean something to you. So that's definitely something that I think back on that specific coaching session like often, because it really I think was like a very pivotal moment for me.
Yeah.
Right.
I actually, when I'm preparing a song for something, my mom does that with me a lot. She's like, "What are you singing? What does this line mean to you? What does this line mean to you?" And I think it makes such a difference. And like sometimes like we'll do that, and then I'll go on my own and I'll go every single line. I'll be like, "What have I gone through that relates to this line?" And also somebody that is a mastermind of doing that is Cynthia Erivo. because
my
you can
gosh,
see
yes.
every song she sings, she knows exactly what she's talking about, and then the the vocals on top of that is just so perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's cool too, like when you do that, in some ways the vocals often take care of themselves.
Yeah.
It's like when you really just dive into the story and then you
Mm.
do it and you're like, oh my God, I didn't think about what I was singing that whole time, but somehow it was like better vocally.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's so
Literally.
cool.
And like
Yeah.
theater is like already so hard, but like to connect this back to like the Jimmys, like seeing like a kid at high school or like sing like the last midnight from Into the Woods as like the witch, and that is like so like you did not just do a whole show, like you fully just got on stage, hunched over, and you're the witch. Like that is
Right. You
amazing
didn't
to
have an
me.
entire arc to like get you
Which
to that
right,
moment when
right.
you're so right. Oftentimes they're singing probably their like 11 o'clock number from that
Mm-hmm.
role or like, one of the most emotional moments.
How
And
do
they
you
have to
get
like,
there?
also you're in a medley and you've listened to like four other people sing like four different songs that are like from different musicals. And then it's like your turn to break
It's
in
like
and like
Gary,
sing.
Indiana's right before you, and then you're
Right.
going and you're like
I'm
belting.
coming away from me.
Right.
Right. Literally, it's like suddenly Seymour, and then it's like Sweeney Todd being like, "These are my friends," and you're like, "What's happening?"
Right.
But they do it, and they like jump in, and they're like locked in. It's amazing.
Mhm.
So let's talk about college. So you went to Lipscomb. So
Yes, Lipscomb.
what made you choose Lipscomb's musical theater program specifically?
Yeah, so I probably similar to what you guys will do and what I'm sure a lot of listeners either have done or will do is, I auditioned for like 16 musical theater programs. I went to Unifieds. I like traveled all around the country to like tour different programs and go to auditions and all of that. And so I'm from Nashville. And actually, originally, my thought was like, I don't want to go to school in Nashville, which Lipscomb's in Nashville. I don't want to go to school in Nashville. I want to go far away from home. I like kind of had it in my brain. Like if I want to go and pursue musical theater and eventually move to New York, going to school 20 minutes down the road from my parents' house probably isn't the best place to start. Like that's not really going to set me up for like a life of being unsure and figuring it out and like grand adventure, yada yada. And so originally I really wasn't considering Lipscomb like at all. I had taken dual enrollment classes there. I knew all the faculty very well. I went to the high school, which is also Lipscomb Academy. It was a private school like on the same campus as a university. So originally I was like not considering it at all. And I auditioned for like a million musical theater programs. And I got into, I want to say like 6 to 7 of them.
6,
and
7.
only, hey, but only like when the money came to it, we started to realize like most of these are not feasible. And, I could have taken out loans, but at the time I really didn't know much about it. But now looking back, I'm so grateful that I didn't take out a massive like 6-figure loan. I'm a huge advocate, like, don't take out a massive loan unless you're going to like one of 3 like top schools, so we started to realize that like a lot of these schools are not feasible. And I was going to choose a school in Illinois. I was going to go to Millikan University, which is where Sierra Boggess went. And they had given me like enough money and it was a great musical theater program, yada, yada. And so I just started to feel really uneasy about that. It just started to feel like not the right decision. Decatur, Illinois, it's a smaller town than Nashville, or at least from what I like perceived. And I started to get like really uneasy about it. And I like went to my mom and I was like, I don't know, like it just doesn't really feel like the right choice. And I almost felt like I couldn't say to her, but I was like, I'm starting to think about Lipscomb. Like the idea of like staying in Nashville. I would still live on campus. There's a few equity theaters in town that I had already worked with throughout my time in high school. And I'd had a few other like professional contacts and jobs that I had like worked over my high school years. And the idea that I could stay in Nashville and continue to do those and continue to cultivate them was very appealing to me. I was like, why would I start over in a new city that I don't even plan on living someday when I could just go to school in my hometown and continue to like work and make money and like grow as an artist. And then as I was like having all of those thoughts and like starting to really feel unsure about my college decision, a massive scholarship from Lipscomb came in. And it really felt like the heavens opened up and it's like all of my prayers were answered. And it was just like, okay, this makes the decision so much easier. Like this makes it all just make far too much sense. And and then I made my choice and I was like, no, like I'm gonna go to Lipscomb. And it really, once I made that decision, like all of my anxiety went away, all of my like fear and unsureness just truly like melted off. And I was able to start just getting so excited about
Yeah.
going to that program. And I mean, looking back, like it truly was the right decision. I had a great time in college. I have nothing but good things to say about my professors and about the time that I spent there, and it was awesome. So I'm so grateful that like things turned out the way they did, and I truly believe that things that are meant to happen always will.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's how it felt.
I'm sure your mom must have been very happy that you chose to stay.
Yes, no, yeah, exactly. Like, you know, and then there's something to be said for like going home for dinner on a Wednesday night. Like,
Totally.
I think I was kind of getting like too big for my britches, as we say in the South. Being like, I have to go far away. I can't stay near to home. But like, it was so nice being able to like see my mom for lunch every now and then, and you know, getting to be near people that I had known and grown up with. Like, it was really, really lovely.
Also, isn't Nashville like a really like music surrounded like place? Aren't all like the
Yes.
writers there?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge thing for country music. I feel like that's what it's mostly
Yeah.
known for. But just music in general, like, I mean, you throw a, what did they say? What's the phrase? Like, you can't throw a quarter without like hitting someone who's like a brilliant guitarist, an amazing singer, like a wonderful musician, just in some way. And I mean, that's a lot of like the work that I got to do in high school too, is like working with musicians and session singing and all of that. So it's like, it really is such a great place to be a part of the arts.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I want to go.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome. You guys should visit. It's amazing. Like, I mean, the music scene there is truly incredible. It's so great.
Yeah.
What is something that college training gave you that you didn't already have?
Oh my gosh. You guys have really good questions.
Thank you.
Something that it gave me that I didn't already have, I think, was an appreciation for the broader scope of jobs in the theater. Something that my program was really great about was we had to take these things called practicums, and there were different practicums. So one that I took a lot was like sets practicum, which basically is like learning all about the ins and outs of building. And that was also partially how the sets for the shows got built,
That's
was
so
through
cool.
the sets practicum. Yeah. And so it's like I learned how to build a flat, and I learned how to use a welding gun, and you know, things of that nature. Another one that I took was like a costume practicum, where we learned like the basics of sewing and things like that. Another one that I took was like a stage management practicum, and so we learned all about stage management. And then I got to be an assistant stage manager for one of the shows at school. And so that, all of those experiences really helped me to like learn that there were so many things involved in theater that I could do and like I could have in my tool belt. And there was actually a time post grad, when it was post grad and like still kind of in like COVID era, when there like wasn't a lot of work to go around. There was a Christmas theater happening in my hometown in Nashville, and I didn't get cast in it, but my friend was the stage manager, and she had posted saying that they were looking for an ASM. And I was like, wait, I was an ASM one time. And I was really nervous. I was like, is this like so like fake of me? Like, I don't actually know how to be an ASM, but I messaged her and I was like, hey, like, I think I could do this. And she replied and was like, absolutely. Like, I'd love to have you. Literally, you're hired. And so I got to like work on this equity show as an assistant stage manager. And I never would have gotten to do that if I hadn't had that experience in college and like learned that that was something that I was capable of. And I got to like make a salary for a Christmas show that I wouldn't have even been a part of otherwise.
Every single, like these past few episodes, just learning about all like the different colleges that sometimes like I haven't even heard of, and all of these like cool, interesting things that you do, it's just so interesting for me to learn about every single place.
Oh my, I mean, yes, like I'm sure there's a million colleges out there and they all do it so differently. And I always try to tell people, like, you have to go to school at the place that feels truly right for you. Like, don't go to the place that, you know, someone's like, oh, if you want to be in musical theater, you have to go here. But it's like, it's so personal, as different as you and I are, and every single person is, like, so is their college experience going to be. And so you have to choose a school that fits that, you know?
Yeah, totally. So was there ever a moment in college where it just kind of all clicked for you as a performer? It may have probably clicked before, you know, at the Jimmys and stuff, but
Yeah, I feel like one of my big like click moments was, I mean, in middle school, kind of when I decided that I like wanted to do theater. But I mean, there were quite a few moments in college where I think things kind of clicked in for me. Like acting wise, I have this acting teacher. His name is Matt McIntyre, and he's brilliant. He was in Warhorse on Broadway. So we always joke and call him Broadway's Matt McIntyre. But I mean, in our acting class, like he would have us do the craziest things. Like there was one exercise where we would like choose a character, and then we had to like exit the room, walk around the building, and then re-enter as that person. And I don't know if this is controversial, but at the time, one of the people that I got was Obama, which I love Obama. But so I like walked around the building, like thought about Obama, and then came in and then did my monologue as Obama. And like completely respectfully. But it was like so cool to see like the way that something like that could inform your acting choices. And it's like the monologue took on a completely different quality and like context and everything. But I didn't realize, I think I was so stuck in doing things the right way. And his class really helped us learn that like there was no right way. Like a monologue, a song can be taken completely out of context, completely out of the character that you think should be performing that monologue. Yeah. And it can still work. It can still like be quote right. Another one was like we had to choose animals, and I chose like a bunny, and I was like a deranged bunny, and I had to do my monologue like as a deranged bunny. And again, like it worked, you know, and it like we would do the craziest exercise. Like acting school is crazy. But like those kinds of things I think really helped us to like get out of our brains and helped us to kind of just like dive into the work of things and just like get, you know, we actors were like, oh, I have to do it the right way, or at least that's how I am. And so it kind of like loosened me up to be like, so many different things work, you know?
Yeah.
What's that?
I need to see both of those, by the way.
Yeah. I was going to say, what's that? Is that musical is it called? It's like, but his name is Obama. That's still on because I think
it was. Wait, yes, Obama. I think it was like a.
44?
Yeah, it was like Obama 44 or something like that.
Yes, I remember seeing that on TikTok. Yes, and it
Hatty
was
Ryan
like
King
a bop of the
as
song.
Obama.
Please, I think I'm like really scared I'm gonna get canceled for that.
Respectfully,
but so respectfully, so like with absolute reverence and appreciation for Barack Obama.
The role of Obama will be played by Hatty Ryan King. Respectfully.
And we'll just call him up. We'll get his approval. Yeah, it'll be great.
Great, perfect.
So you trained in a mix of styles. Can you which different styles did you train in? Did Meisner, Shakespeare? What?
Yeah, we did a lot of acting in my program, which I'm really grateful for, but we did a lot of Shakespeare. I got to do a Shakespeare show. We did As You Like It. We did a lot of Meisner, which is now like one of my favorite kind of like accesses into acting. We did a bit of Strasberg, which to be honest, it was kind of early on in my college career and it didn't really like stick for me as much as like Meisner did. Yeah, I feel like those are some of the big ones.
Yeah. So do you feel that like maybe like one specifically kind of showed up the most in your work now, or do you feel like they all kind of just came together and worked together?
I think for me, Meisner is a huge one. I am, and I want to like get back into classes about it because forgive me if anyone's listening and you're like, that's not Meisner at all. But like for me, the way that I kind of like draw on my Meisner training is very like, whatever someone says to me, however they say it, I'm going to react based on that in the moment, which Meisner is very much about. They call it like pinches and ouches. So it's like, you know, if you deliver a line to me as if you love me, I'm going to respond to that very differently than if you deliver the same line to me as if you hate me. And I think a lot of people, they kind of like memorize the way that they want a line to come out and they almost like ignore what the person is giving them. And I try really, really hard to like pay so much attention to the other person that like my response is always going to be like a direct result of whatever they give to me. And I feel like my stage partner, Mikey Fabish in Dear Evan Hansen, he and I were like so good about that. Like he was so reactive to me and I was so reactive to him that like every single night I always said it felt like we were playing ping pong. Like it was just very like, we were both like so locked in on each other and every single night, like those performances took on, it was consistent, but at the same time, it always took on like a different energy, you know?
Totally.
All
Yeah.
right. So I think we're gonna wrap up this segment and we're gonna go to your daily life now and just like more realistically.
Yeah.
Um, because I feel like actors aren't always employed. What does
Mm.
your life actually look like in between contracts when you're not in a show?
That is such a great question. It can look different. At times, it has looked like having a lot of jobs. At any time in New York, I've had like 4 to 5 jobs with varying consistencies. I've catered before, I've nannied before, I've worked as a brand ambassador before, I've worked coat check. This past month, I'm very grateful. I haven't really been working. I just got off a contract at the end of February, and I have another contract coming up at the end of March, or no, May.
Period.
Sorry, we're in May is the next month, right? But I'm very grateful that I haven't really had to work too much since my last job, and I've gotten to focus on auditioning and traveling and seeing people and like catching up with my family, and like just going on a few different trips and such. So lately, I actually haven't really been working that much, and I've kind of been asking myself the question, like, what does my daily life look like when I don't have something that's scheduled out for me? And I'm actually trying to get a little bit better about not just scrolling on TikTok all day. Um, but when I am kind of like in between jobs, and oftentimes I do find a survival job or a muggle job. But yeah, there's so many things to do in New York.
Yeah. Like, how do you mentally handle that switch from being in something and doing shows every night, and then you have that adrenaline, and then suddenly like there's nothing going on and you have no set routine?
Mm.
What's your mental process for that?
I try really hard to be gentle with myself and kind with myself. And I mean, the job that I just did, I was on a cruise ship contract for like 8.5 months or so, which is very strenuous. And when you're working for that long, you don't really have any time off. So for this past month, I've tried to just tell myself that this is a break and this is a time to rest. And that's okay if
Yeah.
that's what it looks like, and not put pressure on myself to be productive all the time. And if I was constantly jumping from job to job to job, I think burnout would be inevitable, and vocal damage would be inevitable, and
Mhm.
probably physical damage as well. And so trying to remind myself that like the breaks are so important and so necessary, so that when I do get to go to my next job, like I'm ready for it and I'm rested for it and I have the energy and the stamina required. Whereas like if I remember I was like auditioning for something that would have started literally the day after my last contract ended, and I didn't end up booking that job, and looking back I'm very grateful for it. But I think if I just jumped straight into another job, I think it would have been really, really hard, and I think it would have probably borderline killed me. So just like seeing the time away from performing as like that's when you get to rest and recuperate and get ready for the next thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And I absolutely think there's something to be said about like saying no in this
Mm.
industry. Like I like as a kid, like especially at the age that I'm at now, when I get auditions, it feels like I'm at such a weird age that it's like very rare. And
Mm.
so it feels like I need to take every one. And then when I get like four in a week, I take all of them. And it's not fun. Like
Yeah.
I remember when I was younger, like it paid off because I would be in callbacks, but I'd like stay up till like 1 a.m. like
Mm-hmm.
working on stuff. My voice would be gone. And it just wasn't fun. And I think that saying no and taking a break is like definitely okay. Um,
Absolutely. And your work will be better for it too, like
Totally.
if you
absolutely.
if you get offered 4 auditions, and 2 of them you feel really passionate about and 2 of them you really don't, and so like say no to those other
Just
two so that
learning
you
your
Yeah.
can
lines.
so that you can really focus on the two that you care about, and then those two will be so much better than if you had
Right.
taken
And
all 4.
also like there's one thing of like auditioning for a job, but I always like to think of like auditioning a job as, I mean, don't get ahead of yourself, definitely don't. But like don't audition for a job that you don't want to do for 4 months because like it's not going to be fun. And
Right.
I mean, you shouldn't like audition for a job and pull it out the last minute. So I would just say like always keep that in mind. If you're not having fun doing the material now,
Yeah.
you probably won't in a few months. And
Yes, like
after
if
multiple
the
months, you definitely won't.
or like if the taping is miserable and you're like, I
Like,
hate this, like then why are you
don't
doing
even
it?
submit it. Like,
Right.
um,
I'm
do you
so
have anything? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, I'm so lucky to have like parents and like a manager and an agent who like I'll read the script, I'll read the description, I'll be like, "Hey, like I don't know if this is kind of my thing.
Mhm.
I kind of want to step aside from that." And they'll be like, "Of course, you don't have to do it."
Right. Same.
So, yeah, just very
Yeah.
lucky.
And like some of the auditions that
Yeah.
we get are like so
They're
weird.
so
Like,
crazy.
I mean, like, it's like you read the title, and if you like cursed out every word that was like inappropriate, there would just be no title. Like sometimes you get sent
Oh
auditions
my
that are so
gosh.
bizarre that you're like, I actually don't know if I want to do this.
Right. I don't even know if I want my name attached
Yeah,
to a
wait, I'm
project
actually
like this.
Yeah.
so okay.
Yeah.
But then I
But
also love that feeling when you get an audition and you read it and you're like, "Oh my god,
This is so me."
this is literally me."
Yes, and like that's how you know that it's aligned, you know, when
Mm.
you're those are the times when like I'll get even if it's like four sides and like two songs, it's like learning it is so easy because you feel
Fun.
so excited about
Totally.
it and it doesn't actually feel like work and you're like I'm so thrilled that I get to work on
Mhm.
this character and this material.
I think that's how I felt about drag too. Like
Mm.
as soon as I read the character, I'm like, "Oh my god, this is
Mhm.
literally me. I want to be part of this so bad."
Yes,
Right.
and that's like why you guys booked it because it was so aligned.
Mm.
Totally. Yeah.
Do you have like anything that helps you stay creatively fulfilled when you're not actively performing every night?
TikTok has kind of been a part of that.
'Cause you're like a content creator.
You know, loosely, like absolute, like air quotes
You're
around that
on a
word.
video I saw far before I met you.
Oh my
I
gosh,
saw you in a
that one.
stage Orlando, and I said, let's switch places. Because
Yes, please. Oh my
I
gosh.
reposted your video about a year ago. So,
You're so sweet. But I will say, like, you know, the TikTok thing comes and goes, and
mhm.
my relationship with TikTok is ever changing. But it is so nice to, you know, if I get an idea in my head or I have something to say or I want to tape something or like maybe my self tape didn't go anywhere and so I'm like I'll just put it online. It's nice to have a bit of a creative outlet like that because I'm not really a writer. I don't really care to like create my own work in that way. But the fact that TikTok is something that you can do in your own time, you can say whatever you want, you can make whatever you want. Sometimes people will watch, sometimes they won't, and that's okay. That's always been like a really when things are slow and you know I'm kind of like not really sure what's happening creatively. It's nice to like have something like that. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I'd say that that's definitely like been a big one. I enjoy like visual art, so
Mm.
sometimes like drawing, coloring, doodling, things of that nature can be
Yeah, yeah.
nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any things you like to do? I'm
Just
curious.
like what?
I
Like, do
don't
you have
know,
any
just
like creative
things.
outlets or
Yeah,
anything
right.
besides
That.
theater?
I actually am keeping some things. Let me think. This is actually a great question because I think I sing too much that I never I just don't do anything else.
There's no such thing as
Honestly,
singing too much.
I have to say I kind of just love when I get to be like a normal kid. I love when I get to just hang out with my friends and it's not, you know, like work and like I don't know, that's just kind of like my thing for me. Just that the biggest like satisfying part after like drag, I came home for like a week and then I got to hang out with all my friends and I got to kind of just like
A
everything.
week.
Yeah, because then I
Into a
did.
new job.
Yes. um, and then, you know, it was kind of just like so like nice and refreshing. But yeah.
What about you, Remy?
Um, hmm. This is like my whole spiel. I like I had like a very like hard relationship with like my confidence ever since I closed drag and like vocally feeling like okay. And I think that like singing was like at a point just not fun for me anymore. And I felt so sad because I couldn't like sing. Um But I found like doing stuff that like you are good at really helps your mental health. So like getting into more dance classes and like I would like to think like I used to think I was like a strong mover. Now I like kind of consider myself a dancer and like
Hey.
seeing that like I'm like good at good at something is like really nice. Um I also honestly think I'm so busy a lot of the time with like school and stuff. I feel like sometimes homework is my creative expression. Or like thinking of a musical in my head, writing a musical in my head, dreamcasting a musical in my head.
And I've seen all of those.
This is true.
I love that.
We have a whole we have a whole fake musical that is that after and that we kind of put together a cast and
Yes.
and staging and every we did
Understudies,
We did
swings,
everything.
vacation covers.
Yes.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
literally. And as we were like going through this thing, we're like, wow, this is very similar to Death Becomes Her. And we realized that we were just making Death Becomes Her in a whole different font.
Oh my gosh.
And we're like, I was like, how about we do a jukebox musical of other musicals? And we just, contact.
I go, yeah, I don't think that's making a musical. We're taking other musicals. If we are doing Have Another Drink, I don't think that's us making our own musical. Yeah.
But yeah,
like theater can be so weird though. Like there are so many things that are permissible and get to be called art and get to be called theater. So like, hey, who knows? Like, go down the path and see what it could be. Like, you never know.
You know that meme that's like, well, it's not really a meme, but like when like on TikTok, someone would be like, "Dude, blah blah blah, know they're doing this." You know what I mean? And like we'd be like talking about like our like Megan Hilty starring in it, and I'd be like, does Megan Hilty know she's coming to the Palace Theater next year? Like, is she aware that we have costumes made for her?
It's like, does she know we're already decorating her dressing room?
No, literally. And I'm gonna shut up about this in 1 second, but Remy is an amazing like graphic designer, and he does all of these cool graphics. So he made like a fake one saying that this famous person is starring in our new musical, and we basically tricked a bunch of our friends and we edited this graphic onto like a sign at the Majestic Theater. And we're like, everybody, I just walked by the Majestic Theater, look what's coming, this is so crazy. And we had a ball. We had a ball.
So
ball.
good. And like honestly, like I think that's what being a theater kid is about, because let me tell you, like on my last contract, a group of people from my cast, they put together like a whole fake theater company, and they sent out an entire like casting notice for like a 4-season show. And it was like Shrek, Legally Blonde, Annie, and Finding Nemo.
It's like those It's like those fake casting TikToks.
Yes, and they put together like a whole cast list from our cast, and they were like, and this person's the music director, and this person's the choreographer, and here's this, and it was like all just people from our cast. Like that never ends, and it's so fun. Like
I love it so much.
It's so good.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about. You said you did a few contracts on cruise ships with Disney and Norwegian.
Yeah.
So that experience, what was that experience like stepping into that kind of performance environment? Because performing on a cruise is so different than performing in a normal theater.
You're spotting on a turn. You're spotting, you turn, you're like, oh wait, not there anymore.
No, you jump, and then the boat rocks, and then the floor moves underneath you. It's crazy.
That's
or like
great.
my first contract was more of, so the Disney contracts, it's like you're doing like book musicals on a ship, but the Norwegian contract that I did was more of like singing review shows. So it was more of like, you know, you're singing one pop song and then you're singing another pop song, and then there's like dancing that goes along with it. But one of our shows, we were in these like high heels that are like this tiny. Hold on, where's my camera? They were like that small. They were so small, and they were like so not meant for dancing. They were like fashion heels that we were in, and we were doing what's that song? I've got sunshine on a cloudy day, and we were like doing the whole thing where we're like behind our mics and we're doing the very like Motowny like dance moves to it, but it's all like very like still, and you're like behind the mic, and there's like one moment when we're like in a bevel, and so like all of our weight is on like one foot, and you're supposed to look so nonchalant and so like effortless while you're singing backup for the guy who's like the lead singer of that song. And like, God forbid, it's a rocky night, and we're like stumbling all around the place, like trying to be so like casual with our like step touches and snaps and like bevels. It is really a time, and thank goodness that the audiences are forgiving and typically have had a few to drink and they don't care.
Right.
But the cruise ship thing was something I didn't know that I wanted to do. It came out of COVID. I had just graduated. I had just signed with an agent. And I was still living in Nashville at the time, hadn't quite made the move to New York. And I had a friend who was on the casting team for Norwegian, and they were launching their ships from the COVID shutdown. And so he messaged me being like, have you ever thought about singing on a cruise ship? And I was like, well, I haven't, but now that's my dream. And so he messaged me that like summer of, I want to say it was summer of like 2021. I submitted my materials to him. And then after that, I started to get a lot of different like Norwegian auditions for all of their book shows. And then come December, I get an email being like, interest and offer call, Norwegian, Oceana, yada yada. It was like so random. I had like a Zoom meeting with them while it was while I was doing the assistant stage manager gig actually. And they basically like offered it to me on the phone. It was with Oceana, which is like the luxury line from Norwegian. Ooh. And I remember they offered it to me on December 9th, and it started December 26th.
Oh my God.
So it was like pack of your life, put your stuff in storage, break your lease, move to Tampa to start rehearsals to open a ship. And it all happened so fast. And it really was, once I got into those rehearsals, it was truly unlike anything I had ever experienced, because we learned 3 shows in like a month and a half. And then we like went to the ship and teched the shows and opened it. And then I was working on a cruise ship.
Crazy.
And it was so fun. I had such a great time. The money is amazing. The travel's amazing. Like the life on board is so great. I truly could not recommend it more to people. And after that, I thought I was kind of done. And then I moved to New York and lived there for 8 months. And then life was hard and jobs were not jobbing. And I got the audition for Disney. And I'd been in auditions for Disney for a couple years, actually. And then this was kind of the one that like stuck. And they offered me to be Anna in Frozen, which I was like, I didn't even know that was a possibility, that I could play Anna in Frozen. And I cried for like a week straight and took the job. And it was amazing. It was like such a dream come true. Like the Disney company is truly like no other. And then I got to do a couple contracts with them, and it was amazing. It was truly so incredible. Could not be more grateful for all of that. It's awesome.
I love the Princess Anna because I have a story. It's completely unrelated, so I'll try and be like 20 seconds or less.
Please.
When I was very little, my parents were looking for an au pair, to watch me because both my parents were working. And we had like an online call with one of these au pairs, and her name is Anna. And I was like, I pick her because she's like Anna from Frozen.
Oh my gosh.
I have no further debate. Yeah. And
that was it.
That was it. And then she became like my sister. So
that's
yes.
Awesome.
One of my biggest like vocal notes that I get from my vocal coach is like to stop swaying back and forth. But
me too.
I think I'm just gonna start saying that like I'm on a cruise ship, because
you're just preparing for when you sing on a cruise ship.
I think that performing on a cruise ship is so cool. I haven't ever seen a show on a cruise ship, but now there's like Back to the Future and
Royal has like so many of those like
so
big
sick.
Broadway musicals.
There's this
Royal
one video.
Norwegian, yeah. Oh, sorry, please.
No. There's this one video of like Hairspray on a cruise ship.
Oh my God! And she's flying.
They fly her from the ceiling. It's crazy.
It's so good. I have a vivid memory. Oh my God! I have a vivid memory when I was a kid. There is like this recording of Toy Story on a cruise. It's so good. Think it needs to transfer yesterday, but it was made for the cruise, and I think it is so good. And
I actually know what you're talking about. That one is like infamous in the like
Mhm.
Disney Cruise Line canon.
Really
People
good.
talk all the time about like how great Toy Story was. But
Yeah,
that's
it's
how
really
like a
good.
lot of so Frozen on the ship was actually created before the Broadway Frozen was created.
Wow.
And when they were creating the Broadway Frozen, from what I've been told, they kind of like looked to the Disney Cruise Line
Wow.
version. So like Disney Cruise Line, you know the opt up at the end of Let It Go,
Hmm.
instead of the cold never bother me anyway, the cold never bother me anyway forever, and
Hmm.
it's like so high. The cruise ship did that first. Like they put that opt up
Oh my God.
in their version, and then the Broadway, which obviously it's like, you know, Kristen and Bobby Anderson Lopez, who obviously they like wrote it. But so like they put that in the cruise line version first, and then for Broadway they were like, let's keep that. It's
Period.
awesome. Period.
Have
Yeah.
you ever seen that video of who's the um Tuacon? Is that how you say it? Did Frozen?
Mm.
Who played Elsa? Because I remember she did like a
Is it
very
is it the
ins.
voice teacher?
Was it
Hmm.
Emily Kristen Morrison?
Yeah, that's what I'm
No,
thinking.
She's
that was no. Tuacon is the one that's like outside,
yes, because she
but
did
she
it
did
in
the insane opta.
Chicago.
Wait,
I know
who?
exactly who you're talking about, and that Optip is insane. And then there's like fireworks at the end of it.
Oh my God,
Yes.
It's insane. No, and I think she like went even
Haley
higher. It was like,
Capaldi.
yes, yeah, iconic, truly iconic.
Yeah.
I
So
love it. I'm like, if you're an Elsa, like go off. Like you have full reign to do whatever you want. Like that is your
totally.
diva moment.
Mhm.
I'm not like the biggest fan of like too many riffs and runs in
Right,
theater, but
but
like for
that
that,
moment is
like
like
do it.
do it.
Yeah.
You're
Do it.
an ice princess.
I also
Literally.
love seeing like the sets, like the
Mhm.
original sets of like, and some of them literally look like ice, and I'm like, that's so cool. And also the quick change where they pull
Oh,
off the dress.
so good. It's
Favorite,
so
one of my
good.
favorite moments. So before we move on to Dear Evan Hansen, I want to ask one last question. What was the most like, I know we talked about the ship like moving, but what was like one of the most like chaotic or unexpected thing that has happened when you're performing on a cruise?
Oh, I mean, a lot. Like the cruise ship thing is very, you know, the cast is what it is, and you have swings and you have people who are like prepared to understudy. But because of the nature of the job, it's like, you know, if someone's out, you can't just like fly someone in who's like done the show
Yeah.
before. So I mean, there's been crazy situations where people have to go on for an understudy position that they weren't prepared for. Like that
Do
happens a
they ever
lot, or
cancel or no?
they try really hard
Right.
not to
But
cancel.
like you
Like
said, like you can't have a girl who was in six 5 years ago come in again. Like,
exactly, to like save the day.
mhm.
So there's been like our swings are incredible. There's been times when they've been split tracking like four different ensemble characters, and they're like
Crazy.
somehow keeping it all straight in their brains. We on my most recent contract, there was like one night when there we have like a lot of like moving lifts, so
Mhm.
like automation things, which, you know, rocky ship automation, what a great pairing. But there was like one night when our lift didn't work, and it was like stuck. So like it was like a huge lift that was like at the back of the stage. We called it our main lift, and they had like sent it down to figure out what was wrong, and then they tried to bring it back up, and it was like 2 inches from being fully restored. So it was basically like a hole on the back of the stage where it's like 2 inches of, you know, like if you step down into it, you could trip, and it was very dangerous. And we always did 2 shows a night. And some of the shows we did 3 times in a day.
Oh my
But
God.
this one, it was a frozen night. So we were in between our 2 shows, and we were like waiting to find out if they could make the lift work. And then we found out at like the last minute that it was canceled and moved to tomorrow, to the next day. Which I was like already in my costume, already in my corset, already like wig prepped, like wig on and everything. And then they're like, sorry
Uh,
guys, we can't do it, which
Oh
in
my
some ways is like
God.
great, like night off, but then it was also like, oh no, we have a show tomorrow. So just things like that, you have to be prepared. Like I can't tell you how many times we've been in the middle of a show and we've had to go with a contingency, which is
mm,
anytime, like, you know, we have so many of these like automations and lifts and things, and if something's not going right, then they'll be like, hey, we need to jump into a contingency for this. And just in a split second, you have to kind of like reset your mind and be like, okay, what's the contingency if we don't
mhm.
have the coronation platform for Elsa,
Right.
which surprisingly is like a really big set piece that gets used like throughout the whole show. And like, what does that contingency look like when you don't have the coronation platform, and you just have to kind of like shift it in your brain super fast, and then the show goes on, and the audience probably doesn't really know any different unless they've seen it before, which is so cool that like that can happen. But yeah, crazy things. You really got to be prepared for
Okay,
anything.
I have one more question on this,
Please.
and then we like really have to go to Dear Evan Hansen because it's been like an hour and I don't want to keep you. But
oh, you're fine. I'm chill tonight, so don't worry.
So you mentioned like, yeah, like we have an off night, very exciting, kind of not. But like how like you can't go home. Like you are still surrounded by your work environment.
Yeah,
Like
that's
I'm very curious.
yeah, that I mean that's kind of part of why I mentioned earlier about, you know, you're on a contract for 9 months and you come home and you really have to like take that vacation, because you're so right that maybe I don't have a show one night, but the truth is that unless I stay in my cabin all night and just like spend the night alone, like anytime I like step outside my cabin, go into guest area, it's like in some ways you are still working, because when you work on a ship, there's a lot of you know, there's like ship rules and regulations, and then with like Disney, it's a massive corporation, and so that's a whole other like set of rules and regulations. And you know, just anytime you're in guest area, you're always kind of thinking about the way you're being perceived and just making sure that you're like, you know, representing the company well. And so in some ways it is kind of like you never really get a night off. You're always kind of working. You're always kind of at work. You can never really turn your brain off. You know, so you're so right about that, that it, for the entirety of your contract, you kind of are in this like work mode, and then you come home and you like crash.
Yeah. So let's talk about Dear Evan Hansen.
Let's do it.
And I saw that you literally just announced that you're doing the role again.
Yes, I didn't know that they were posting that today, but yeah, I'm doing it this summer at the Phoenix Theater Company. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
So let's quickly, I want to quickly talk about that. So when you do like the same show twice, how are you going to go into that? Are you going to do it the exact same way? Like, what is going to be your process for that?
It's a really great question. When I like got the audition for this and was like, you know, doing my audition with the director and everything, like my mindset was kind of like, I'm not really interested in doing this show unless it can be a little different. Like, I don't really have any interest in like replicating the exact thing that I did on tour for 9 months. Because to me, like, that's just not interesting. And also it's not really feasible. Like, that show was, number one, was like built based on like the Broadway show. But number two was built based on like the cast that we had. And I think it's just inevitable that I'm going to be with a completely different cast. And so therefore it's going to be a completely different show. And my show especially is very much based on Evan. And, you know, with a completely different Evan, like that's just inevitably going to be very different. And even in my audition with the director, Michelle, you know, I was like doing the scenes and trying really hard to not just like do exactly what I had done on tour. But inevitably like that kind of slips in, but she would give me like some redirects, and even from her redirects, I was like, oh yes, like this is going to feel fresh and it's going to feel different. And I'm really excited about that. And I think that'll be really interesting, because just like I talked about with my acting class, it's like, there is no right way to do a thing. Like, you can do the exact same scene, the exact same show, and there's things about it that can be different. And it doesn't mean that they're wrong. It just means that they're different.
Totally.
Right. And like, you're gonna approach this next contract, and Zoe is a very complex character. Did your understanding of her shift at all throughout the process? Because 9 months is a very, very long time.
No, absolutely. You know, I'm sure you guys have maybe heard me talk about this. I don't know, but I auditioned for that show for like 7 years. Like, my very first audition for Dear Evan Hansen was when I was 19, and I booked it when I was 26. And so it's like, even just from age 19 to 26 of actually getting to do it, that completely changed. And I think one of the biggest things that I realized doing it on tour is that, you know, she is so complex, and there's not just like one quality that you can assign her. She's not just angry. She's not just like an angry, angsty teen. She yes, is angry, but she's also confused and she's also sad and she's also like having a crush on a boy for the first time and she's also in high school and dealing with all of that and like dealing with family struggles and wrestling with this complex relationship that she had with her brother who's dead. Like that's all so complex and
Yeah.
so and also I think something that I kind of had to remind myself sometimes on tour is like I'm a 26-year-old, you know, coming at all of this and like processing all of this in a very adult way, but reminding myself like in the musical, she's 16. And, you know, maybe a 16-year-old doesn't always have the most like emotional intelligence or even like language to talk about the things that she's going through. And so like
Yeah.
it's okay if it's a little messy and it's okay if it's a little like not fully like thought out or rationalized in my approach to her. So I think I like really kind of had to like reconnect with my like 16-year-old self there and like figure out like what would it be like to be 16 and dealing with hormones and like you know the social structure of school and you know all of these things and still like not even quite knowing who you are yet. Yeah, so I mean I think my Zoe definitely changed over the course of 9 months, and I don't know if I ever again got it right, but it was definitely enjoyable.
Mm. I I have two brothers, one of which is what do you call it? 16,
Mm.
and he is like very different than me. Yesterday he walked into the house with a baseball glove, and my parents are like into musical theater, but because like I really surrounded them in it, like I'm
Mm.
like, Dad, name name my five favorite musicals. And I like asked my dad during COVID to like help me build a set. But
Mm.
I thought like how to break in a glove, but then I had a tap shoe in my hand and I was like, how to break in a tap shoe.
And
Nobody
that's
laughed because
awesome.
nobody got it, but
Oh,
I
that's
laughed. So I
funny.
wanted to share that with you.
That's great.
Do you feel like protective over her as a character?
To be completely honest, when our tour closed and then the rights got released and all of these like casts of Dear Evan Hansen started to like be posted to social media, that was really hard for me because while we were on tour, our production of Dear Evan Hansen was the only production happening
Mm,
in North America.
mm,
And then, you know, so my boyfriend, he got to do the Muni production of it. We dated on tour. So then he did it at the Muni, and like that was like a hard thing, being like,
mm.
oh my God, like he's doing it again at the Muni, and I'm not there, and I'm not
Yeah.
a part
Right.
of it. And then like all of these other casts started to like get released about it, and it's like I really had to be like, okay, like other people are going to do that show, and other people are going to do that role, but that doesn't take anything away from my experience with it and what I got to do with it. And ultimately I think it was like really good for me to kind of like release it in a way and be
Yeah.
like it's not mine. And because the truth is like there's so many girls before me who already played it on Broadway and on the first tour and all of that. And so it's like she was never mine in the first place.
No, but like I think that Yair can agree with this, but like we
I
were
was
not the
I was
first
about
people. Okay. We were not the first people to play Brendan, but
it was
I
so
think
hard.
when we both played it, we both really connected with the role. And after we left, the two kids who took over were really wonderful and very sweet. But it was hard because like we both saw the show after we left, and like I remember being in the audience and being like I would have said that line differently. But I
Mm.
have to remember like these are different people. They're gonna approach the character differently. Um, but it definitely is hard. And I think no matter what, even if people before you have played the role, you like you can still connect to a role more than the people before you, and you can still like really connect to it.
Yeah.
It
If you
was
don't mind, I'd love to turn the question a little bit back on you, both of you. And I don't know if you've ever like talked about this publicly, but like you guys were sharing a role. Like it, but it seems like you guys have, I mean, everything that I've observed from afar and like via social media and even just talking to you guys now, it seems like you have a really fantastic relationship. But like, was it hard to get to a point where you could like deeply appreciate each other as a person? And like, did you ever feel that sense of competition? Or I'm just curious to hear
may,
like what
may
you
I
guys have to
answer?
say about it. Yeah,
Yeah,
please.
I want to go after.
Okay. Okay. So I think we we were close, very close, like then. But I think after we left, I think that obviously there's a lot of competition that's not even that you want. It's kind of just people
Forced
make
upon
it
you.
it's going to end up being a competition if you have to share a role with somebody else. And there were definitely moments where I like doubted myself, and yeah, it was difficult sometimes. But it was amazing. Getting to do the show with Remy, and there were definitely times where I annoyed the hell out of him, like really, really, really bad. But yeah, I'm just grateful that I made such a close friend on my first professional production that I've ever done.
This was a very nice question to turn, because I don't think we've ever talked about this, but I think that like I have been very, very lucky. Like before drag, I've done like a few shows where I've had like other people sharing the role with, and like far worse. Like they were not at the same level, but like there was a lot of competition, and like Yair said, it wasn't us who made it. And I don't even know if they like purposefully did it. But it's really hard when it, similarly to like an understudy not getting to be in like production photos, like there is just something where like if I got a video posted of me that Yair didn't, vice versa, like that is competition. But
It is.
I think that like Yair is so similar to me in so many ways, and also so different, but like we are truly best friends, and I am very grateful that I got to do the show with him, because I just think like, what was I gonna say? Wait, thinking. Oh yeah, we can cut that out. So no, yeah, but I think that like there is definitely always gonna be competition. I think that after the show closed, there was definitely a switch in like we were already really close, but like
It wasn't about the show anymore.
It wasn't, and it was about we could focus on our friendship now, and now we are like I'm older than him. He's in a different age range. We are now like separately auditioning for things, so it's not as much as like a competition.
Totally.
Yeah.
But also like I don't know, we could also sharing a role with someone, it's like very complex, because there's some things that are like it's a lot of pressure to put on a kid. There's some things that it's like never gonna be fair, equal opportunities. Other thing is like now me and Yair get like to relate to like each other a lot. Like we have a lot of memories that only us two experience.
Right. Like
Totally.
there's only one other person in the world who really like
Exactly.
understands the thing
Right.
that you went
And like
through.
I think there's also definitely something to be, I'm very passionate about this if you can't tell. There's definitely like something to be said about like being a kid in theater is like its own beast, and like you don't get to go out with your castmates after the show. You don't ever get to really truly feel a real sense of friendship.
I could have a whole hour conversation about this,
too.
by the way.
Me too. And having someone my age who like I can always look to him when something funny happens, like that is really sweet. And I think that like there's one thing if you're understudied by someone who's like an older age, but having someone your age who like you can be friends with out of the show is very sweet.
Yeah.
Oh,
Anyways,
that's so
I could
cool.
talk so long about that.
You can tell we've never been asked this question before by anybody.
I think it's like such an important thing to talk about. And I mean, it's the kind of thing that, you know, you guys got to experience it at you're both around like 13, 14,
I just turned 13,
around there, right? Oh, happy late birthday.
Thank you.
But to like experience that in your like, you know, late childhood, early teen years, it's something that you'll continue to experience. And I was actually thinking about like in college, like me and my current best friend, not current, like forever best friend, but me and my best friend Annika, we would go in for the same roles in college like all the time. We were like constantly up against each other. And now in adulthood and outside of college, like we never go in for the same things. Like we are completely different. And I think I experienced a similar thing of once we got to kind of like be out of that sphere, it's like when she books something, like when a good thing happens for her, I have nothing but joy and excitement for her. Whereas like in college, it's like if one of us booked something, it was almost like at the expense of the other, because that meant that the other person wasn't booking it. But I just think it's an important thing to talk about, because this is our community. And yeah, no, thank you for sharing. It's honestly inspiring to me. Like I've really been impressed, like watching you guys' friendship and just seeing the way that you care about each other and like support each other. No, it's really lovely. And like we've said a million times, like theater is so hard, and to find someone in your industry like that who you can truly appreciate and truly support, and vice versa, is like so special. So thank you for sharing about that.
Thank you for asking.
Very, very nice. Okay, so Dear Evan Hansen, fantastic. I'm very excited for you. I think you're gonna do amazing things with this new production, and I also like some of the things they're doing with like the Zach Theater, really flipping this on its head.
Absolutely.
And where is it again?
So cool. Phoenix Theater Company in Phoenix, Arizona.
My dad used to work there. We should go.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
We should go.
But yeah, okay. So this is the segment of our podcast where we like to go. It's almost bedtime. Because that's the name.
Love it.
So we're gonna do a little rapid fire.
Okay.
Bring it on.
Okay.
Okay, wait, I would love to be able to know what I'm asking you. So that would help so much.
That probably would be helpful.
That would be very helpful. Okay. Yes, let's do that.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Dream role. It can be any time, like back then or in the future or
Dream role, Fiona and Shrek.
I have a dream role for you, but because I saw like you post a self tape, like right when the Heathers announcement. I think you'd be such a fierce Veronica Sawyer.
That is a
really
dream role, dream show. Heathers, specifically Heathers off Broadway, the one that's running right now. Keep your fingers crossed for me.
Jimmy Larkin.
Jimmy.
If you're listening, please.
Okay, so go to audition song.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, I know this is supposed to be rapid fire. I was just like the other day, I was just like realizing that I haven't had to like pull a song from my book in so long. I've just like am so grateful that I like get to just people give me material and I get to do it.
I love that.
I do too.
I love when I get material.
How can I be auditioning for like I can't say the name, but how can I be auditioning for this and sing like Ariana Grande? Like that just doesn't doesn't work. I really love when they like immerse you.
Exactly. But a go-to for a long time, and it's actually what I sang at the Jimmy Awards, is Meadowlark from The Baker's Wife. That I mean, just like forever will be like my favorite song. I feel like I'm never gonna be done with it. I'm obsessed with it.
I was very, very lucky to be in Broadway Backwards at the Gershwin a little bit ago, about a year ago.
Amazing.
And Titus Burgess, is that how you say his last name?
Yeah, Burgess, I think.
Burgess sang Meadowlark, and it was.
Oh my gosh!
I'm gonna send it to you because it was really, really, really good.
There's a video of him singing that song like over a decade ago at this point. And it's like one of my favorites. So I didn't know that he had done it again. Yeah. Because like his rendition
from
of that
the
song is like
lift.
Amazing. That's incredible.
Yeah. Okay. Favorite city that you've performed in? Oh wait, did you answer the question?
Go to audition song. I mean, Meadowlark, I think would be one of my quickest go-tos for sure.
Favorite city you've performed in?
There's a few on tour that we like really, really loved. Oh my gosh. What was it? It's somewhere in Nebraska. Lincoln, Nebraska is like such a cute little college town. We got to stay like right downtown, and it was like so precious. Another one would be Portland, Maine was amazing. It was so beautiful. It's like coastal, kind of like gloomy, like fisherman town, but again, like small town vibes. So charming, so incredible.
I want to focus more like on Dear Evan Hansen for this next question because we didn't like done a lot of time to talk about it. But one word to describe your version of Zoe Murphy in Dear Evan Hansen.
I would say the word that comes to mind is honest. I think she is just a very honest person, which is crazy because Evan is a liar, which I wasn't even thinking that, but honest.
If you weren't a performer, what would you want to end up doing?
I think I would be a writer. I've always really loved, which I literally said I don't.
Yeah,
write.
wait. I thought you said you didn't like writing.
Well, I don't currently write like plays or musicals or anything. But in high school and college, like I always loved my English classes, and I loved anytime we had like a writing assignment. I remember in high school we had this one like memoir assignment that I just like loved and like dove into. So it's like not something that I've nurtured ever since I got out of school, but I always loved writing in school.
For what? What would you want to like write if you were?
I think I would write novels, like,
Period.
you know, like I love a like young adult novel, like fantasy, like all of that. I think I would write novels. Maybe one day I will, who knows?
Love to see it.
So, okay, our final question is, what do you see Hattie doing in 10 years?
Oh, oh my gosh. You know, for the longest time, my answer was always like, my dream is Broadway, which Broadway is still a dream for sure. But I don't think it's like the one and only dream. And so I think in 10 years, let's see, I'll be like in my late 30s. In 10 years, I think I just see myself still performing and like hopefully doing work that is really interesting. And like, I hope I'm at a point where instead of like hoping projects choose me, I get to kind of like choose my projects a little bit more and kind of like if I hear of someone like creating something that and I want to be a part of it, hopefully that's just a bit more like accessible to me.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like as young green artists, it's more of like a please choose me, I want to be a part of this. But I hope I'm at a point where it's more of like, hey, I want to do that. And like I have a bit of a, you know, in to actually do the things that interest me and speak to me.
Totally. Well, it's time to go to bed, guys.
I'm sleepy. Let's go.
This has been so much fun. We are so honored. We're so happy we got to have you on here. You're so much fun. Yeah. Thank you so much.
I have a final photo to show us. And the people listening going to be very confused, but I'll describe it.
Okay.
Oh, when we can't see a single thing that you're showing.
Wait, because of the green screen. Oh,
you have to put it in front of your face.
Okay, wait. Pause.
Oh,
wait, I can't see it. Wait,
How about you turn off your background? Turn off your background.
Wait, talk for a second.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to say how much I appreciated you guys reaching out to me and asking me to be a part of this. I admire the both of you so much, and I think that you're both so amazing. And I'm so excited about this podcast. Oh my gosh! Wait, I just saw the picture. When was that? And where was that?
This is in
was that our show or was that
2022 on Broadway?
Okay.
But I just
okay,
found
so
it
that
funny.
was Broadway. I love it. Dearvan Hansen
And,
connects us all.
The mask.
I love it.
The mask.
The mask.
Oh, the mask! Such an indication of the times. But seriously, thank you guys so much for having me. This is so fun. I love getting to talk to artists and you know other theater folks. So this is so great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks,
of course. Thank you so much. Have a good
Awesome.
one.
You guys too. We'll chat soon.
Yay.
See you.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Before bedtime.
With Yair and Remy.